Kristy, fibromyalgia is a big deal in today's world. What is it?
That's such a great question. We have millions of people suffering from fibromyalgia, and for years they were told it didn't exist. But it does. It does exist, and it's been a part of my own past. People that have fibromyalgia have so much pain. They're so highly sensitized to pain. The entire body is hurting, right? It almost feels like every limb you have is encased in concrete, and every movement is difficult. Getting out of bed in the morning is almost painful in and of itself. And trying to walk through your day, those days were hard, right? But there's so much more that we know about fibromyalgia today. And we've been able to work with it. Dr. Sharon's been working with it for 3 decades. I've been working at it for about a decade. What I saw in my practice before joining Dr. Sharon was women worked their way into fibromyalgia. It wasn't just an instant, I woke up one day and all this pain. The pattern that I saw were women who had had trauma in their lives, not 100%, but well over 90% of the women had had trauma. And they responded to that trauma by becoming type A overachievers and working really hard to be very successful. And oftentimes these are the people who are the top of their field. These are the executives. And they're working really hard to kind of overcome that trauma, either subconsciously or consciously overcome what they've experienced. They work themselves into exhaustion. Oftentimes what we see kind of the next step is some adrenal dysfunction and working, just trying to push through that instead of listening to their bodies. And then they get to that point that, they work themselves into fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. And, the saddest thing that I hear when people come in is like, even when their children try to hug them, it's painful.
Oh.
Or their husband tries to hug them, it's painful. And so, they've literally worked themselves to this insane amount of fatigue and pain, physical pain, just working through, it's just something that's evolved over the years. And so I think it's important first for people with fibromyalgia to be heard, and chronic fatigue. If this is real, when I was working through this, I would take 3 naps a day.
Wow. Just
trying to make it through. And another thing that we often see with this population is they'll get a second wind at 11 o'clock at night. And then they're like, okay, finally, my brain's awake, my body's awake, I can get things done. And so they are working halfway through the night and the cycle starts back over. So it's so important to hear what a person's story is, to really listen to what's going on, understand the symptoms that they're experiencing. Validating them is just so important. And then we work on finding the root cause. And you've been at this 30 years.
Yeah. So my experience was listening to people. And so as I'd listen, and it was mostly women, I'd hear, okay, excruciating soft tissue pain and fatigue. And this was before there was a diagnosis. But I knew there was something wrong. These people told me that. So if we look at fibromyalgia, what does it mean? I'm sore in my soft tissue. So as a doctor, I'm like, well, fine, we got a diagnosis. It's a compilation of symptoms. What will help people feel better? And so as I listened, as a doctor, it's like, okay, something's wrong at the cellular level with energy production. And as I listened, trauma. So it can be a mechanical trauma, a car accident, a back thing at work. It can be a mechanical trauma. It can be an emotional trauma. It can be a chemical trauma that's gumming up their ability to produce energy. So the goal is listening. What is the trauma? Mm-hmm. And then, as you said, these people are sensitized to pain. They've got really adept at experiencing pain. Mm-hmm. So helping rewire the nervous system. Mm-hmm. And I feel very rewarded by being able to help people that have this. Mm-hmm. Because as you mentioned, a lot of them are somewhat driven to achieve. And so holding the space for them to be kind with themselves as they heal.
Right.
Is
So
important.
realistically, what kind of services do you offer for someone with fibromyalgia?
I'd say our healthy aging program is created in response to people living with these symptoms.
And I think, when you're talking about fibromyalgia, first of all, people that come in the door, they've tried so many other things. They've tried medication. They've tried, oftentimes you've been to a multitude of specialists before you got your diagnosis. A lot of times it's antidepressants thrown at you. And the people that come in here are kind of at their wits' end. They've tried everything and it hasn't worked. It's not going away. They're masking a problem and usually not masking it very well. So when they come in here, beyond listening, and really, when we're listening for certain things, right? We want to hear the story, because like when there has been a chemical trauma, we're hearing, we're looking for those signs and those particular words. Then we help look for those root causes. And fibromyalgia is complex. There could be a lot of different causes that lead to this. So we're looking and uncovering, peeling layers of an onion when we get to the bottom of it. And it is not a one thing. It's not one thing that leads to that kind of pain.
If it were as easy as strep throat and we could cure it with penicillin, then they wouldn't be here.
Right.
But you both have personal and professional experience with helping people.
Yeah, get better. It can take a while. So when I talk to somebody with fibromyalgia, I really encourage them to commit to the 12-month healthy aging. It's going to take that amount of time. It's not going to take them 12 months to start feeling better, because as we start peeling the layers, the pain's going to start dropping. But what I've seen with people is if they come in and their pain is at a 9 and we drop it to a 7, that's an improvement, but they realize, hey, I want to be even better. And the 7 is not, I'm not going to stay at the 7. We got to keep dropping. And so over the months, we are dropping the pain. So it took you years to work to that point. It's going to take, give us 12 months to work you back out.
That is so promising. Where do they find more information about your healthy aging program?
Well, we really would love for them to call. They can call and book a discovery phone call with us, or just come in and take a tour of the office. Come see and experience what it's like here. Come feel the energy that we have. I think people really respond well to what we've created here.
I back that up 110%. Come in, please, now.